Borys of Ebe, the 13th champion of Rajaat, the Butcher of Dwarves, the Dragon of Tyr, the Dragon. If you've watched any darksun lore content, you've heard those titles. You already know the broad strokes. Led the rebellion, had the other champions use the dark lens to transform him into the dragon, went insane for a century, and now guards Rajaat's prison where he collects a levy of 1,000 slaves from each of the sorcerer kings every year to harvest life energy to keep Rajaat locked away in the hollow. Yada yada yada. Let's skip all of that, as it's been covered to death. Instead, I want to focus on what he's like at the table and why he's so terrifying to go up against. Now, I am a sucker for a good big bad, villain, BBEG, whatever you want to call them. And when you look at the top tier D&D villains, Strahd von Zarovich, Acererak, Halaster Blackcloak, Zastam, Zariel, Vecna, to name a few, they all share something in common in that they're examples of don't prep plots, prep situations that Justin Alexander's talked about, which is that a good villain's not a stat block, but a web of people, servants, locations that all come together, which you can TLDR as a stat block does not a villain make. You can quote me on that line. So if you want a darksun BBEG encounter your party will never forget, Borys of Ebe is your boy. Because if Strahd has Barovia, Acererak has the Tomb of Horrors, and Halaster has Undermountain, then the dragon has Ur Draxa. 75 miles of fortified walls, 25 undead liches running the government, and a 7-mile forest at the center with buried magical supply caches that nobody can detect. And the dragon knows the exact location of every single one that he will use if your players come calling. And you need to understand how much of a monster, both literally and figuratively, this guy is. Don't believe me? Go grab a copy of Dragon Kings, the only hardcover rules supplement darksun ever produced, and Valley of Dust and Fire. Between those two books, plus supplements like Beyond the Prism Pentad, Defilers and Preservers and Psionic Artefacts of Athas, you get the full picture of the dragon. And the full picture is freaking terrifying. Let's start with how the Tablelands actually experiences him. Parents use him in bedtime stories. Merchants find desiccated caravans strung along the trade routes, entire lines of corpses drained of life energy. Villages get flattened, herds of animals found shriveled in the fields. And the levy I mentioned makes it personal for every citizen in every city-state. In Uruk, children grow up knowing the slaves marched into the desert are meant to be devoured. In Gulg, citizens occasionally volunteer themselves in a patriotic frenzy, believing their sacrifice protects the city. Every sorcerer king pays 1,000 slaves every year, no exceptions. The general population believes the dragon is the only dragon in existence. They have no idea their own sorcerer kings are secretly metamorphosing into the same thing. And just to clear up some confusion on why he's called the Dragon of Tyr in the first place, it's because the Wanderer, the guy who mapped the region, was born in Tyr. So he named the entire area the Tyr region, and merchants adopted his terminology. But to the average Athasian living in the Tablelands, that title just means one thing: the Dragon. Singular. The only one under the Crimson Sun as far as they know. And Borys has made sure it stayed that way. Let me give you an example. Psionic Artefacts of Athas tells the story of Khalid Ma, the 15th champion of Rajaat. Khalid Ma ruled the wealthy city-state of Khalidni, and he, or she, the lore is really iffy here, so let's just run with he, was obsessed with power. The normal dragon metamorphosis is a 10-stage process. Slow, agonizing, and dangerous at every step. Khalid Ma decided to skip the queue. He created his own spells, empowered 5 obsidian orbs, swallowed all of them at once, and tried to speedrun from a 22nd level dragon all the way to a 27th level dragon in a single stage. It worked. Kinda. The pain purged every shred of reason and sanity from his mind. What came out the other side was a rampaging monster with no intelligence, no restraint, and enough raw power to level his own city. This obviously got noticed. Borys, along with Kalik of Tyr and Hamanu of Uruk, rode out to meet the thing that used to be Khalid Ma and put it down. The battle lasted nearly 2 days. And they killed him. The body was destroyed. But the 5 obsidian orbs survived, and Khalid Ma's consciousness, fractured across all 5, still waits inside them for someone stupid enough to reassemble the set. Now, it'd be easy to argue that this was just a cleanup operation after Khalid Ma's speedrun attempt went wrong. But if you read the Dragon King supplement and the book The Verdant Passage, both make it clear the Tyr region is only a small part of a much larger world, and there are probably other dragons out there. The Tablelands is Borys territory, and should another dragon appear, then one of them would be forced to cross the Ringing Mountains, if they don't annihilate each other in the process of a Defiler turf war. So while Hamanu and Kalik were there to protect their territories from Khalid Ma, Borys was there for different reasons, because the Dragon of Tyr, as a fully transformed 30th level dragon, refuses to tolerate any rival advanced being within his realm. Aspiring dragons, Avangians, elemental clerics, anything showing signs of reaching extreme levels of power gets dealt with. He either kills them outright or forcibly transforms them into Kaisharga, his undead servants. And no, I'm not counting Dregath here. The other Sorcerer Kings, not Borys, took him out themselves while he was still a 29th level dragon, because the last thing they want is another one of them going full dragon crazy and trashing the Tablelands. And Aronis of Kurn is quietly transforming into an Avangian. But his status is a secret, so he's not on anyone's radar. Almost forgot that one. The point I'm making here is that the dragon doesn't tolerate competition. He puts up with the other Sorcerer Kings. Barely, as long as none of them finish the transformation and become a full 30th level dragon themselves. Right, let's talk about his city, Ur Draxa. From the outside, it looks like a quarter-mile thick ring of smooth rock rising 720 feet into the air, stretching 75 miles in circumference. Inside, 9 wedge-shaped sectors divided by 480-foot walls draped in creeping vines. 4 sectors are populated townlands. 4 are dense forests stocked with game. And 1, the monument sector, features the Boulevard of Heroes, lined with nearly 1,300 statues of Draxan champions. Those statues are the Draxan version of sainthood, and only half a dozen new ones get added in an entire lifetime. Ur Draxa is a brutal place to live, even by darksun standards, because over thousands of years, Borys has enforced what you would call a survival of the fittest policy. Any clan that showed even a hint of weakness got wiped out, and more aggressive ones took their place. Disputes between Draxans get settled in the Kaidar, a dueling ring where anything goes. Magic, sand in the eyes, whatever you got. If a duelist tries to escape the ring, crowd kills them. Oddly enough, skilled fighters often have accidents just before they're due to enter the arena. They're a nation of megalomaniacs who'll slaughter a slave for looking at them wrong. As far as they're concerned, Ur Draxa is the only civilization on Athas, and every other creature only exists to serve the citizens of the City of Doom. Most of them don't even know other cities are out there. They think the rest of the world looks like the Valley of Dust and Fire, or the Sea of Silk. But that ignorance they display is also by design, as literacy is considered decadent and shameful to common Draxans, while the Templars, Viziers, and slave scribes are highly literate and use this monopoly on knowledge to secretly run the city's ministries from the shadows. The one thing they all agree on, though, is the dragon. They almost worship it, ironic on a world where there have never been any gods. To them, his word is law, his whims are edicts, and he could do no wrong. But unlike Dregath, Borys doesn't want godhood. Absolute loyalty's enough. Interestingly, he doesn't even run the city day to day anymore, as he long ago lost interest in the administration of Ur Draxa. That falls to the Kaisharga, the Dead Lords. About 25 Athasian liches, handpicked by Borys and elevated to undeath for exceptional loyalty and ruthlessness. Lord Warrior, Lord Assassin, Lord Templar, Lord Guardian. Their eyes burn with green fire. Their touch deals cold damage. They're immune to charm, sleep, cold, electricity, and death magic. Some of them dream about unseating the dragon. They can't. Even all 25 combined would lose. They know it. Now, in the center of Ur Draxa, you have the Dragon Sanctum. It's a forest made up of trees of life with small streams and pools running through it. On Athas, because this place gets to opt out. But this forest wasn't grown for postcard moments. This thing is the Defiler version of renewable energy. By planting a massive forest of trees of life watered by continuous springs, Borys has constructed himself a colossal, self-regenerating magical battery. He can drain this forest to fuel his spells all day long. And because trees of life are virtually immortal and regenerate their life force every hour, the forest doesn't wither and die like Anything else would when it has its life force sucked out by defiling magic. And for an extra creepy factor, if your players find themselves in this place, there is nothing living in it. No birds, no insects, nada. Just the sound of running water and a golden aurora overhead. And this is what happens when you park a defiling field over a woodland magical energy grid. And that's what the golden aurora actually is. Anything that flies into it takes impact damage, and then 10d6 per round while the life gets ripped out of it. In the exact center of the Sanctum sits the Black Sphere. It measures 12 feet across, smooth black stone, and this thing radiates every school of magic while it hovers 4 feet off the ground over a shallow pit. It's completely indestructible. Even the Dead Lords don't know what it does, and the dragon never discusses it with anybody. But go read the Prism Pentad series if you want to find out what it is. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Good. Love the whole murdery City of Doom thing. So what does this look like if my players decide they want to take this guy down? Pretty much the usual. The big bad waits in the last room, Sanctum, whatever. The door gets kicked in, everybody fights. They win, everyone walks away. Great time had by all. Roll credits. Yeah, about that. The original Darksun box set does include a stat block for the dragon. Full write-up. Also worth noting that a straight fight is a guaranteed TPK. Valley of Dust and Fire lays out exactly how the dragon fights intruders in his sanctum. He's buried emergency caches scattered across those 7 miles. Fruits of extra healing, rings of invisibility, wands, staves, all shielded from magical detection. He knows the exact location of every single one. If intruders land a serious blow, he teleports to a cache, heals, goes invisible and inaudible, arms himself with fresh weapons, sets a teleport trigger, and comes back to stalk them through the forest. That is a slasher movie. Jason Voorhees with 30 levels of Defiler magic and thousands of years of preparation. So if you ever run the Dragon of Tyr at your table, don't set him up as a final room boss waiting for the party to kick down the door. Use the Sanctum. Make the encounter about the environment. The party is in his territory. He knows every inch. He will disappear, heal, rearm, and come back stronger. Make your players hide. Make them run. Make them realize they're the prey. Darksun gave us a lot of monsters. The dragon is the one the monsters are afraid of. Run him like it.